Good evening. Well, is today Tuesday? Let's check. It's Tuesday night, March 21st, 2023. I'm your host, John Schenk. This is the Deerwood Realty live stream. How are you? Kind of the point where I don't even get nervous coming online. Like I've got a bug here that's the gnats in the basement are just, it's out of control. I think I've got an infestation even. It's not good. And I told my wife about it and she doesn't seem to care. She doesn't come down here. Anyway, that's probably a bad way to start a show. Anyway, how are you? How's it going tonight? I'm going to type a hello to the people that might not be watching ever. Scratch my nose. Oh, that was kind of cool. There was like an effect. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Anyway, how are you tonight? What's going on in your world? I had a home inspection today. John Schenk, want to be at every single buyer home inspection that we have. I think it is a criminal malpractice for a real estate agent to have a building inspection and not go. I mean to tell you, the idea that you would knowingly help someone buy a home, not even bother to go to the inspection. God. I didn't get him. Help someone buy a home, not even go to the inspection, and then come back at the seller with all these things they need to fix it's just bad real estating to me. Like the idea, by the way, there's a couple things. I mean, I have thoughts on the real estate business. You may have noticed that. But look, like I don't have any other agents in my office. Okay? And I literally live or die by transactions. Like if I don't help people buy homes or sell homes, I'm going to go out of business. Okay? Like you can't have a more one-to-one relationship than I have with my clients because should I let that go, I'm toast. And yet hundreds of thousands of people, perhaps millions of people in St. Louis will choose other real estate agents. They'll see an ad on TV. They'll see something on Zillow where some agent had 600 transactions last year, which isn't true. And they'll be like, "Oh, we should go with these people. We should go with this person." And it's like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Do you think they're going to go to the buyer's inspection? No. Do you think they care at all about? No. I care about my clients. I had a client tonight ask me how to fix a water like connection to the outside of the house, a faucet. You have to turn it back on in the spring. We're getting close to the spring and they were jumping the gun a little bit, but I was like, I don't know how to fix that. I just turned mine on. Don't twist it too hard and don't do it at 9:00 at night. Okay. Do it during daylight hours where if you do screw up, the plumber can come in and fix it. That's what I've learned in my many, many years in living. You know, if you're going to do something like that, you're going to tackle a home improvement project, at least do it during like hours where people are able to help you. Like if for instance, I think when I was in college, I would think nothing of doing, some sort of cutting or something, like crafts or something at midnight. Wouldn't think anything of it. Now, I'm not doing anything at midnight. There's no way. Because if I got to go to the hospital or something, I need somebody to drive me there. And it has happened. By the way, if I do this like all night, my neck is just, I don't know what I did. Last 2 days have been terrible. So, I apologize. I woke up, I was fine, and then throughout the day, I'm feeling a little bit old and crusty. I don't know any other way to say it. It's cold here. It's raining. It's dark. And I was out at this inspection. And so you know, at the inspection, it wasn't anything major. If there had been, you know, I don't think I'd have even, you know, the question is, if something goes wrong, do you feel personal, you know, responsibility? And I don't feel too much responsibility because of the fact that I'm not a home inspector. It's not my job to find everything wrong with a house before someone buys it. But, you know, this house has been sold for it's sold 3 times now in the past 10 years. Most people that have an occupancy inspection at least once get hammered pretty hard by the county and have to fix things. So, I mean, I wasn't anticipating just a nightmare scenario. Oh, I got that one. I know it's gross. I don't know what to do. By the way, I'm on the internet. I have people that watch my stuff. You tell me, how do I get rid of these gnats in my basement? I thought they were coming through the sewer. I think they're now, I have some plants. I started some plants last year. By the way, if I'm boring you, it's okay to switch off. I don't care at this point. I mean, if I try to do the most awesome show ever, I get 4 viewers. And if I do the worst show ever, I get 4 viewers. So I'm going to talk more about my issues. So I don't know about this. I thought the mosquitoes were coming from the sewer. I don't know that they're mosquitoes. There's these little things that fly around and they're irritating. They're like gnats. But I think now I have these plants that I started. They're, what are they? Anyway, they're like trees. They grow up to be 10 feet, but I've never seen one grow even more than 4 feet. But anyway, they're these, and they're evergreens. They're not an arbor green. They're not an emerald green arborvitae because I can't grow those. These are something else, and I liked them, but they take forever to grow, and I have them in my basement because it freezes. I guess I could take them out. I'm taking them out this weekend. Today's Tuesday. Mark my words. Now, you know, I showed you last night the things that I needed to do today. I didn't get them all done. I mean, I just didn't. So we can, you know, criticize for not getting everything done. But anyway, the emerald green arborvitae, those are the ones that they die in my backyard. I've got $400 in these things and they're dead. Makes me feel really good. The other ones I've got growing here must be the cause of these mosquitoes or gnats or whatever they are. They're very annoying. I hate it. And no one seems to have a solution in my house because no one cares. They don't sit down here and work all day. They go upstairs. They're never down here. They're down here for the laundry. By the way, I'm in my basement. I don't know if that was obvious, but I am. And I need to get my stuff back. I have to talk to somebody about that. I want to change it. I'm going to change up the lighting. I don't know about the background yet. That would take a lot of effort. Oh, you can even see the thing flying now. Sweet. Did you see it? I saw it. I don't know. Good Lord. This is embarrassing. It was flying in the light and it was producing a shadow. He'll be back. We got a good show tonight, I think. We've got some Hollywood talk. Everyone likes Hollywood talk. We've got, I guess it's probably a bit of a downer of a show. No, I wouldn't say that. I don't want you to click off the show because it's negative. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. Interesting. We're going to talk about fake jobs, phantom job offerings. You don't say. What's this about? We're going to talk about an affordable home. Affordable home. One thing I saw that was intriguing in an article, it says, what gives real estate agents the ick? I don't know what that means. What is the ick? Then there was another article, rookie homebuyer moves that drives real estate agents crazy. I'm kind of intrigued by that. What's the last article? Oh, Fannie Mae. I thought their job was like to insure mortgages. The world's gone mad. Wait until you hear the position that someone has in that company. And they probably get paid bank. I don't know. So we had the inspection today. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging there. The house, it was raining. I went to the inspection. It was right during lunch. So I didn't get to eat until afterwards. Ate. Stopped by McDonald's on the way back. You know, that's another thing. Might as well get this out. All you people that are like, I hate McDonald's and ew, nasty. You know what? I don't like you. I don't like you as much as you don't like McDonald's. I'm tired. I don't go there. I don't go there because I care about your opinion. Like, when I was like 7, I got a 2 cheeseburger value meal. And I'm like 45 now. And I still get, for a snack, which was, I had a snack because I ate dinner tonight. But anyway, went to McDonald's. And, you know, people say, oh, it's not healthy for you. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Leave me alone. And then someday we're going to get to this, just putting it all out there. We're going to get to this point where it's like, you're not allowed to eat because I have to pay your health insurance. Like, you know how they did the smoking thing? They're going to do that with food. And we're like, well, you ate bad food and I shouldn't have to pay for it on my insurance. Anyway, I digress. I had the 2 cheeseburger meal as a snack. Came home, did a bunch of work. Not all that I needed to do. Wife came home. Oh, there's a bug. It's really annoying. Like, you have to understand, like, deep beneath this calm demeanor is somebody just livid about freaking bugs. I mean, I hate it. And it's been 2 nights now. I filed a formal complaint with my wife yesterday. I said, this is ridiculous. She didn't seem to care. Anyway, so I came home and wife came home from work and she said she normally has coffee. It's chafe. I like chafe. It's like where you sit down and you have coffee and kind of talk about your day and relax a little bit. Unfortunately, I fell asleep for an hour. That kind of ruined everything. Dinner was late. They kind of moved I think we were 6 minutes late on the stream. I'm sorry about that. I feel shame. And you know, a lot of you are asking me, wink, wink, a lot, when are you going to fix the Rodecaster Pro? When are you going to get it so that you can do funny sounds and stuff? That's a good question. That's a fair question. And my answer is I don't know. It's so unusual. Like this, I don't know if this is like the human condition. Okay. But do you know how hard it has been to get to this point right here for me? And you say, well, what point is that? Just being able to broadcast a live stream, like technically be able to do it and do it in such a way where you can almost see my face. It's almost clear. You know, you can hear the sound. I haven't screwed up the microphone in a number of months. I have 2 monitors now. I have a computer that doesn't freak out when I'm doing video. I mean, look how far we've come. I even shave more often because I'm going to be on the stream. We're making progress. I don't know if you remember back in the day, we used to have in the back, okay? We used to have the strobe light effect from the focus. The autofocus would just freak out. Now I'm just going to play with it. Look at that. Watch. If I put it in front of me, it doesn't do it. Huh. I thought I fixed that. But if I put it behind me, it doesn't do it either because it's following my face. And I don't know why I'm holding up my hand like this. It looks a little stupid. Wow. I guess we should get into some stuff. Let's start off with it this way. And I got to see. Let me just double check one more time to make sure that I've got everything in order. Okay. Oh. Sad. All right, here we go. You know, I should be able to press a button and this get fixed. I have an Elgato Stream Deck. That's not what I want. I want that one. I'm doing this for a while. I got to see if when I cut the YouTube shorts, they're better this way. I'm still mad at algorithm for the 3. I didn't even do a short today. I was so mad at, well, I did one, but it was just a copy from the live stream. I was so mad at YouTube shorts I did a nice original one and it went nowhere. Three views. By the way, there's no question I'm getting hammered by the algorithm. In fact, I'm not going to talk about it too much. I need to do some things. I'm not streaming live on Rumble. You can see the replay on Rumble, but I'm not streaming live. But there's no discoverability on Rumble, so I'd have to kind of advertise on Rumble, and I don't know. I have to hit a couple more buttons to go on. I'd like you to go, I think, to the Deerwood Realty and Friends podcast if you really liked the show. Because that's really where I want to be. I don't want to deal with all this stuff. I mean, I don't have any faith in anything. Like, when they say it's like anti-censorship or anti-this or anti-that, I don't believe them. Especially when it's a corporation. YouTube was going to be all like that, and then look at what happened. You think Rumble's not going to have activist shareholders at some point in time that come in and say, you're not going to do this? And then, like right now, they could say, yeah, you're right, we're not going to do this, and you're funny, but 20 years from now? And that's the other thing is we look at things like, I have a real tough time in my thoughts keeping things in perspective for when is something real, if that makes any sense. Like things that were of great importance to me at one point in my life are not of any importance to me now. Like the Blues winning the Stanley Cup. I wasn't even watching. And I know that makes me like a bad St. Louisan, but I was watching when they had Basil McRae and Kelly Chase and like when he actually played. I remember Chris Pronger getting hit with the puck in the playoffs against Detroit and almost dying. I mean, that was then. This is not interesting anymore. But it happens in all parts of life, but it happens in tech too. Like if you have a website, if you have a website where you want people to go, are you writing blog posts now that are like, for search? I mean, that's pretty much over. I mean, it was always rigged by Google, but at this point, it's like, why bother? If you can just use AI to write blog posts, there's no point in writing blog posts. So, I mean, what I'm saying is what if you were the best SEO blogger 10 years ago? Like, what relevance do you have right now? It's crazy. It's crazy how things change like that. And, a lot of you didn't get the opportunity to watch MySpace explode with popularity and then just die. And I feel like Facebook's kind of doing the same thing right now. The only people on Facebook are people in their, late 30s and above. They're actually using the platform. I don't know why it is. We have these social shifts. And I don't know what I don't know about you, but I first found live streaming during the situation we had for 3 years or 2 years. That I shall not be named because I don't want to be banned or silently blacklisted. But you'd be at home and you couldn't do anything and you couldn't go anywhere. And so you'd watch YouTube and there were all these wonderful people on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you watched your stream. I think that everything, that was the culmination of everything. I bet ad revenue and everything. I don't remember putting that up there in the corner. You can't see it, but the Deerwood Realty logo above the thing, I don't remember putting that there. And it had to have been me because I do everything. All right, well, anyway, one thing that I think is relevant in some ways is the 30-year mortgage rate. Here, I'm pointing out more of my failures. I didn't fix this. I might not get it fixed for months. I know what I have to do, but I'm afraid to go to it. Something's definitely wrong with these two titles. I'll work on it. I've got time sometime. 30-year fixed, 6.75%. That's an increase of 8 basis points. Now look, I've seen this game being played where right before the Fed has their meeting, and which I believe is tomorrow. Today Tuesday, yes, tomorrow. Interest rates spike, and then when the Fed talks, they go down. Mortgage 30-year fixed rates. I'm not talking about the borrowing rate or the Fed funds rate. I have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, everybody says they're going to raise it 25 basis points. I just feel like there's such a mess that it doesn't matter what they do at this point. Similar to, I'm going to put this in a way that I'm not comfortable with. Here we go. If you need to buy a house right now, you have to buy a house. The fact that it's way, way too expensive, the fact that it's going to put you into terrible financial straits throughout your life. I mean, if you need to buy a house, if you want to buy a house, you don't have a choice. I mean, it's really gross. And the idea that I, a humble real estate agent out of St. Louis, Missouri, can fix the housing market, which is one of the largest percentages of GDP in our country. I can't do it. Too many problems. Too many problems. And we'll see today, like we'll see throughout the tweets, people will point to things as being what's wrong. Here's some of the things they'll point to. Number one, Wall Street. And when we say Wall Street, that's really like a worldwide conglomerate. I mean, like SoFi Bank is out of Japan, and they're a huge fund. And then the sovereign wealth funds in Saudi Arabia. It's not like just Wall Street, but all these companies finding ways to collateralize single-family homes. The iBuyer model. Oh, you can't sell, you don't want to sell your house to just anyone. You want to sell it to us, and then we'll put a markup on it and sell it for more later. That's a problem. Zoning is a problem in different ways. One, in new construction, lot requirements. Second, enforcement of, single family homes. Are they supposed to be rentals for, well, specifically short-term rentals? Is that okay? It's this, these are issues that cause problems with the mortgage. We're going to go look at the Freddie or Fannie. One of them has a climate change chief. What the hell are they doing with that? Like, why? What does that have to do with insuring mortgages? How much, like, the same organization is saying, you know what, we don't need title insurance companies. We don't need title insurance on every deal because that's too expensive for the home buyer. But we can sit here and have God knows how many people that are involved with the climate change chief. Like that whole department, if I were in charge, would be gone immediately. It's got nothing to do with your charter. It's ridiculous. So you've got those issues. the Fed goes into buying mortgage-backed securities when they need, I think, to increase liquidity. Now, look, you may say, John, you're an idiot. You don't remember. No, I don't. I'm late. I'm tired. It's 9:30. I don't know. Anyway, should the Fed be buying anything other than treasuries? Is that a reasonable question? Should they be instructing banks to buy quote unquote safe mortgage-backed securities? Especially when they're manipulating the rates on the front end. So many issues that I can't solve for you right now. I can't even fix gnats flying at me. Anyway, let's talk about it. So, what do I think? Again, if you need to buy a home, and it doesn't matter if it's 10% on a mortgage. It doesn't matter if it's 20% on a mortgage. It doesn't matter if it's 25% on a mortgage. If you need to buy a house, you buy a house. The rates don't matter. We have become untethered. And you may say, well, that's defeatist. Well, I mean, it's just kind of the way I feel about this. If you want an honest opinion, that we've become untethered from real money, and value. Now, many people say, well, that's going to stop at some point. If everything's fake, it's not going to have to stop. I hate to say this, but God only knows what an iPhone costs these days. But when it was like $800, it gave me pause. When they used to give them out for free, now we got $800, and God knows what. I'm going to check. I've got the power of the internet. Oh, I didn't know they had a new one. Okay. iPhone 14 from $799. Let's look. What's the iPhone 14 Pro? Is $1,000. Now look, I'm sure it's a wonderful device. Don't get me wrong. But $1,000. Now, here's an idiot's view of the economy. Okay, so if you're a youngster, you have to have a phone. Your parents have to buy you a phone. So that guy has to go to work, or gal has to go to work. The family has to go to work, and they have to work to afford this $1,000 phone. Well, what I've always believed happens is they pay the younger workers more, but don't wait a second. Don't get on me. I don't want to shame young people just for being young. That's not what my point is. So these young people say, well, I'm not working for that. That's stupid. And so they're like, okay, well, Randy, who's been here since 1980, well, we'll fire him. We're going to fire him. And when you come and work for us, we're actually going to pay you $20,000 more a year than Randy got. Like even now, after working here for 20 years, 40 years. And then the youngster's like, yeah, I'm making bank. And then they go on TikTok or Facebook and they're like, look at my life. I'm buying lattes at $6 a cup. I don't even go to work till noon. And I make all this bank. And yet they go to try to buy a house. And it's like, oh my God. Are you kidding me? They go to buy a car right now. And it's like, oh my God. Are you kidding me? Anyway, it's bad. Oh God. I mean, look at me. I'm dealing with the gnats. Because no one cares. Sad. So, is there a way to get back to reality? I don't know. Because what they're going to do is they just change the value of money. I mean, they're not trying, they're not fixing inflation. It's not at 2%. And so the iPhone costs $1,000. Down the road, the iPhone's going to cost $2,000. Everybody wants an iPhone. Okay. And your salary is going to be, you're going to get great news. You get 10% more per year in your salary. Okay. And by the way, houses are going to be more expensive. Like everything's just going to keep getting more expensive. And it's just fake. It's all fake. And you say, John, are you advocating going back on the gold standard? Yes. 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 Fiat currency is the dumbest thing ever. And you're like, maybe you say, go to crypto. There's lots of millionaires in crypto. No, the federal government's not going to allow that. I mean, look at all the FTX. Look at all the bribes that got paid out. Not bribes, but whatever you want to call them. And they still took that place down. It still blew up. I don't think we're going to see that. So anyway, rates not good. Rates might be better tomorrow, but it really doesn't matter at this point. Where are we going now? Oh, first article. I'm just checking to make sure you can see it. Okay. I was intrigued by this because, well, the title got me. Fake for hire ads plague job hunters and employees post ghost jobs. Now, I have a little bit of experience with hiring people, believe it or not. And I didn't like it. But we'd have an ad out the whole time, whether or not we were hiring or not. And we'd call people in for an interview, and we'd be like, no, that guy's cool. If we ever need a job, if we ever need to hire somebody, that guy might be somebody we call. But look at it from the perspective of the job hunter. The job hunter has no income coming in. They're trying to get a job any which way they can. And you interview them and you're like, hey, yeah, we had a good interview. If something, we'll call you. You're not calling because you're not giving them a job. I'm not saying it should be illegal. It seems wrong, though. And if that was the way it was when I was in this line of work, God only knows what it's like now. Let's see. It says, well, the official unemployment rate is sitting at multi-decade lows. People still looking for work are getting jerked around by fake job ads in which businesses are maintaining active job postings that they aren't actually trying to fill. The Wall Street Journal reports. In a survey of more than 1,000 hiring managers last summer conducted by Clarify Capital, 27% said they had job ads up for more than 4 months. Of those who admitted they have postings that they weren't actually trying to fill, close to half said they did so to give the impression that the company was growing. Now, see, that seems wrong. That seems wrong. That speaks to something totally different than what we were doing. We weren't really looking to grow. We didn't care if somebody thought we were growing or not. It does make sense, though. Others said they kept ghost jobs up in order to maintain a list of ready applicants in case an employee quits or in case an irresistible candidate applies. That's kind of what we did. We didn't wait for somebody to quit, though. If somebody irresistible came along, we would try to work. Try to get them to come to work. It's a waste of time, says Will Kelly of Washington, D.C., who's been looking for marketing and writing jobs after decades of experience. When he was looking for a job in 2021, around 20% of the listings which interested him were being posted and reposted without evidence that anyone was actually hired. I first thought of it as an anomaly, and now I see it as a trend. I see a gnat attacking me. According to Nashville-based recruiter Vincent Babcock, the strategy risks turning off of applicants who see the ads as misleading. I don't think anyone gives a, no offense, I don't think anyone gives a damn about the applicant. Like, of all the problems that the company's facing, it isn't the one about the applicant. They're posting jobs with the intention of hiring, but not anytime soon, he said, noting that some companies might not even be looking to hire until Q3 or Q4. For employers, constantly looking for talent can make sense, says Kelsey Liebert, co-founder of Fractal, a digital marketing agency. She says her company keeps ads up for associate positions even when they aren't hiring because turnover for those jobs is often higher than other roles. Otherwise, you're suddenly in a position where you need to spend a lot of money on LinkedIn ads to quickly drum up interest, she says. It's better for you to hedge by leaving some of those job openings up. What's more, some companies require that a job ad be posted even if a candidate has been predetermined to give the appearance of a fair hiring process for the role, which, trust me, that happens. I mean, I don't know how many people I've been in contact with over my life, and they're like, I just got a new job, but don't tell anybody because they still have to run the ad to prove that it's legit. Like, they're not going to hire the person. They're just hiring me, but they've got to make it through. I mean, that's happened like more than 10 times. Other times it's a simple case of poor coordination within a large corporation. According to Stella Talent Partners founder Elliot Gorlock, who formerly worked in recruiting at Wayfair, where he says the online retailer frequently advertised jobs that it wasn't actually hiring for. It's not because we were ill-intentioned and out to trick the candidate market. So that said, other companies might be reluctant to move ads because we don't want to signal that we're slowing down, so we'll let these things ride. Getting a job is a game. I wasn't very good at it. I don't like to overstate my qualifications. I don't want to be part of stupid stuff that I find irritating and time waster. I'd rather be trying to catch gnats on YouTube. Got it. You say, well, John, you don't make any money at this. That's true. You figured it out. You caught me. How to avoid ghost ads? Well, that's good. How do we avoid ghost ads? Look for job descriptions with a ton of detail. The more specifics, such as schedules or a clear list of responsibilities, the more likely an employer is serious about the job. According to Scott Dabrowski, VP of Communications for Indeed, who also suggests checking the timestamp on ads to find recent postings. Now, Indeed is the largest job. There used to be one called Monster. You remember Monster? Well, they got beat out by Indeed. When I was a kid, you would look in the newspaper for jobs. They had like a whole thing. Does anybody know? Does anybody know if like newspapers still have job ads? Help Wanted, they called it. That was the whole section. And you'd cut out the ad. Okay. And when I was hiring people, like we'd get like 30 applications like in a day. And it's like, I don't have time to read all these. I don't how, and then I realize, then you realize like, look, you got to do something to stand out. And even if you do, it's not like people are going to naturally hire you. They might like, they might not even be a job. So here's the thing. Like, so say you send out like an email, like you send out 1,000 emails a week. Well, if they're big enough companies, like nobody saw your email. No one saw your job application. Like it's that bad. Hiring in the United States, I feel like it's broken. I feel like it's been broken for a long time. But I'm saying that as someone who never really got a leg up in the job market. Anyway. Now the next thing, let's just go to it. I'm not even going to preface it. Okay, this is the best I can do. I don't know what Board Panda is. I've never heard of it. But I saw this and I thought it was interesting. It says, family man with good credit score reveals what the only house available in his budget range looks like, and the internet is horrified. So I don't know if like they've taken a poll of the internet. Everyone has something that motivates them to strive for greatness at work. We want to have a positive impact on the world while also providing stability for our loved ones. Let's go through that statement real quick. Everyone has something that motivates them to strive for greatness at work. I don't even know. We want to have a positive impact on the world. I don't really care. I'm just trying to be honest. I don't care. I don't want a negative impact on the world. I just don't really, I just want to be me. I just want to be left alone. And all the garbage that people throw on me all the time, I just prefer that it goes away. Oh my God, 2 gnats now have attacked. I just want to do a show without gnats. Anyway, one common goal that people, I think providing stability for our loved ones. I think that's true. I'll go with that. One common goal that people have is wanting to own property. After all, who doesn't want a quality home for their spouse and kids? A quiet corner of the world to truly call your home. I mean, I'm a real estate agent, and I've seen a lot of houses that I don't think are anywhere close to a quality home for their spouse and kids. However, it can be disheartening to realize that all of your effort at work, your endless savings, struggles, and sacrifice might not be enough for you to afford to buy your dream home in the United States. That's the frustration that one family with good credit, TikToker Average Joe Gam, shared in a video that's gone massively viral. He revealed what the house within his budget looks like and shocked the internet. Scroll down and watch the video. Well, we might watch the video. I'm not against it. Let me check and make sure we're good. Okay, there's no comments. Board Panda reached out to Average Joe Graham, and he was kind enough to answer a few of our questions. Sometimes it gives me anxiety when I think about how many people my videos reached. I never thought it would get this many views. And I almost didn't post it. He opened up to us, adding that the last thing he wanted to do was discourage people. Now more than ever, we have to focus on the things that make us happiest: families, friends, hobbies, and passions. Read the full interview. So here's the image. This is what it started. I don't know if I'm going to get to play it or not. I guess if I go to share the video, but I don't want to go on TikTok tonight. I'm sorry. You guys, I've got the link to the Board Panda article in my description. It will be there tonight. It's not there right now. Oh, man. That's done. Okay. Inspection just came in. But you're internet savvy. I'm going to show you exactly why the younger generations are quiet quitting, saying careers are dead, nobody wants to work anymore, all that shit. I said it, that you hear. I'm going to show you exactly why that's happening. My wife and I have been together for 7 years, and in those 7 years, we came up the old-fashioned way. We have 2 kids. We really struggled for a long time, and we just now, after 7 years of struggling and sacrificing, got to a point where we're no longer paycheck to paycheck. She's finished school. I worked my up way at my job where we make $120,000 a year in combined household income. The man revealed what an affordable house looks like in his area. And in 2 years, we financed and budgeted things out so we can probably save around $40,000 for a down payment for a house. In 7 years of struggling and working our asses off, we built ourselves up in this country to buy a house. Let me show you what $120,000 a year, $40,000 down payment with good credit gets you. This was the only house available in our budget range in our location where we live. There was one house for sale, and it was this one right here. It wasn't good, apparently. He was frustrated by how unfair the situation is for the younger. It's unfair. Look, life is totally unfair. Believe me. Here's something that unfair happened to me. When I was 20, 23, 24, I started losing my hair. Okay? Unfair. My grandpa was bald. Unfair. You say, well, that's nothing. At least you can afford a house. It's not been that easy. Not been that easy. This is what we can afford with $120,000 combined income and a $40,000 down payment with good credit. Our cars are paid off. We sacrifice. We work hard. We worked our way up in this country to get to a point where we're no longer paycheck to paycheck and we can save money. This is what we can get. Everybody is in that older generation saying, oh, I guess you better go to college and do your best. Guess you better get a degree, find a trade, something that makes you more valuable to a community. Was it always like that? Is it always how it was? It's been pretty much like, hey, you need to go to college. When I was a kid, like, yes, you needed to go to college. And then college started getting a little expensive. You started going to your like financial planners and they'd be like, oh, by the time your kid gets to be, college age, you want to be able to make sure that they can afford college. And so, budget this much. And then they got to be a game with federal grants and Pell grants and stuff. So then all of a sudden, if you don't make any money, the kid that doesn't make any money gets a much better chance of going to college than if you work your ass off. And then they made it so that the loans were dependent. Not only that, now the person that goes to the college that is just the middle student, their parents are middle income, now they get hit with a $100,000 bill when the kid leaves. It's gotten to be a racket. And it's obvious. Did you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, an engineer to get a livable house with a very substantial income? My mom worked at Michael's. My dad was a pressman in a printing company. They both bought a house, which nowadays is probably $600,000. At the age of 23, my mom worked just over minimum wage at Michael's, and my dad worked for a little bit more than that in a printing company. This is what's going on. Oh, there, it's being played. TikToker told Average Joe Gam, told Board Panda that he's glad the video reached so many people around the world. My story is just one of millions of other families and people in the same position. It resonates with so many people because there's so many honest, hardworking adults just doing their best to provide for themselves and everyone around them. And they're getting screwed royally by the government. Royally. And it's coming at them from all angles. According to the video creator, there are various reasons why buying a house has become unaffordable for many young professionals. Now, I don't know that he's a professional. I don't know what he does. I don't know his line of... I mean, we used to think of professionals as like doctors, lawyers, and such. I just took that from Merle and Willie. Okay, so what are the reasons? The one reason that bothers me the most is investment companies. Oh, almost got the gnat. Oh, I got it. He's injured, but he's still fighting. He went down. I don't know if he comes back. The one reason that bothers me most is investment companies buying up single-family homes and using them for Airbnbs or just renting them out permanently, which at some point should be illegal. He shared his thoughts. I mean, that does seem wrong, doesn't it? You go down a neighborhood, you go down a street, and like 3 houses are available from rent from like some sort of corporation. I don't think I can talk. I don't have a cough button. Just a second. All right, here we go. There are no easy fixes to the current situation. Average Joe Graham, 3, doesn't have any solutions to the problem either. However, he pointed out the starting point is to have real conversations about the housing market and asking questions. It's a good place to start. Eventually, younger generations are going to start holding political office, and I have high hopes for big changes in the future. That's where you really, really made a mistake. Despite everything, Average Joe Gam remains optimistic about the future and hopes that others will too. For everyone that watched my video and got discouraged or lost hope or negatively impacted them or their motivation, please don't let your happiness or success be judged by what you can buy. Yes, it's frustrating, but the last thing I wanted was to discourage people or make them feel depressed. Now more than ever, we have to focus on things that make us happy. Okay. This is a very weirdly written article. It's almost like it's AI generated. Oh, let me check the chat. There's no one in the chat. TikToker who made a huge... is buying a house really has become more expensive than in the past. Is viewed by dropping 4.6 million times on the video sharing platform. Meanwhile, it cost such a budge that other internet users started posting it elsewhere online. One person who reshared the video on Reddit got over 53,000 upvotes. TikTok really resonated with a lot of people who feel powerless as though they're not in charge of their destinies. One common thorn in Generation Z and millennial sides is talking about housing with members of the older generations who have the idea of having a run-of-the-mill job and saving a bit of money every month is enough to afford a decent, livable home. I don't think that's true. Stereotypically, this is expressed as something along the lines of, oh, well, maybe if you ate less avocado toast and drank less coffee, you could save enough money to buy a house. We're all for good saving habits and being less reliant on caffeine, but these are small potatoes compared to how inflated property prices have become. But why? Why are these prices inflated? Who did it? Your own government. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, average sales price of a house sold in the United States was $535,000 in the final quarter of 2022. The average price peaked in the third quarter at $547,800. That's so wrong. Just a few years ago, this is not even close. The average was $374,500. Now compare that Q1 of 2011 when the price stood at $259,700. There was another peak before the great economic crash. By the way, that great economic crash was nothing compared to what could happen someday. Not predicting it. I'm just saying. You thought it was bad then. But otherwise, the cost of the houses were far lower than the further you go back in time. The average home was around $210,000 in 2001. I thought it was too high then. You could nab a house for around $150,000 in 1991, while in 1991, buying a house would cost you around $84,000. What this means essentially is that property prices have been rising rather disproportionately. In short, you could save more to buy an average home than your parents and grandparents could afford far more easily in their time. That's awesome for them, but pretty bad for those of us who don't own property yet. You know what, though? We're not talking about inflation. What would that $210,000 house cost right now? It'd be ridiculous. What would the $150,000 house cost right now? It'd be ridiculous. What would the $84,000 house cost in 1981? And look, inflation is a killer. Don't kid yourself. And the government is behind this inflation. The Federal Reserve is terrible. However, there are some signs the housing market might be potentially cooling. But so what? So what? Great. It goes down. CNN reports rising interest slowed the frenzied sale activity. However, home prices are still at a record high. And here's the thing. If average Joe Gam 3 on TikTok is correct, these companies buying these houses and turning them into rentals, short-term rentals, are not affected by mortgage rates. So it doesn't really matter. The median price for a home sold in 2022 is $386,000. That represented a 10.2 increase from the median in 2021. However, home sales last year dropped by 17% compared to 2021. In this case, the terms home refers to not just house, but also townhomes, condos, and co-ops. But look, average price is $386,000 in 2022. And then up here it says that it's $535,000. It's a $200,000 difference in the two numbers. Meanwhile, Statista reports that actually homeownership rate in the U.S. rose a bit in 2022. In 2022, the proportion of households which are occupied by owners stood at 65.9%. The U.S. homeownership rate was highest in 2004. Before the 2009-2007 recession hit and decimated the housing market, the rate continued to fall until 2016, but has begun to increase again since then. That means more and more Americans have become homeowners since 2016. Be careful about that Americans thing. How many foreign people own property in the United States? And by foreign people, I don't mean people that have immigrated to the United States. I mean people that are like Chinese nationals. In short, things aren't completely black and white for absolutely everyone in the U.S. More and more millennials who are currently renting are planning to buy homes in the near future. Well, look, I'm planning on buying a bespeckled pony. Planning and doing are two very, very different things. Oh, here we go. Planning and actually buying, however, two different things. Investopedia notes that millennials aren't buying homes as readily as previous generations. Many millennials are delaying getting married and having kids. Instead, some of them choose to live at home with their parents as they shoulder huge student debts and can't save up for a down payment. It's bad. It's bad. Government doesn't care about you. It hasn't ever cared about you. But I mean, now it's just, here's all you need to know. Whether or not you think Ukraine is a good idea. $100 billion goes to Ukraine for the war machine. What could that do to help housing in the United States? What could that do to help? Well, we already fixed health insurance, I was told, reliably. If we just voted a certain way, we would fix health insurance, and now that's been fixed. Just wake up to the fact that the government is lying to you all the time about every single thing. And when you finally figure that out, then they trot out that UFOs are real. It's bizarre. Here's how people react on TikTok. Housing crash is coming. Older people say that because they're afraid to admit they contributed to the problem. Yeah, blame the old people. Again, oh my God. This is not common people doing this. This is government actors. Boomers are out of touch completely. They can't even fathom our generation's issues. I'm not a boomer, but I would say this. When I was 21 or 22, I felt misunderstood by pretty much everyone. And up until age 30. And now I feel misunderstood by everyone, and I'm 45. Howard Johnson, it's disheartening. His picture looks like he's like 100. I make $80,000 a year and can't afford to buy a house. Man, this is ridiculous. You weren't working hard enough. You tried working 10 more side jobs and not sleeping for a year. That's the right way. That's the right attitude. Oh, I almost caught a... Did you see that? A reflex? The super rich are parasites literally ruining this country for the rest of us. That's the fact. And it isn't like people are like, Elon Musk, it's his fault. Don't look at those guys. It's not their fault. It's others. It's the parasites that are parts of the super rich. It's a very weird situation. Van life is the future. All right. Minimum wage was made with the intent to live comfortably, not just above poverty, meaning it would probably have to be $25 at this point. I don't know about that. That was not. You're misinformed. And this is the conversation before student loans have even entered the party. Unfortunately, now is a horrible time to buy anything. It's true. I work a trade. I also have a college degree. It's a struggle. I will never own a home. I will never get out of debt. I will never live comfortably. Well, that's a defeatist attitude, Missy. You need to take that attitude and turn it around. You're never going to get a house with that attitude. All a degree gave me was debt and more confusion on where I can actually get a job. That's a problem. She has a snail in her emoji, or a snail emoji in her name. Becky Rad, say it louder, bro. I'm not your bro. I don't know. Now look at recently showed my dad a 500 square foot one bed bath condo in low cost upstate New York selling for $275,000, and he was speechless. Well, maybe he accidentally ingested a gnat. I'm not saying that happened. There should be rent to own for people with low credit. I feel like I'm already paying a mortgage for renting and paying per month. There is rent to own for people with low credit, and you don't want to do it. Because the minute that you don't pay the rent, all the equity you have in the home disappears, and they kick your ass out. Don't rent to own homes. Not a good plan. Interesting. When I went to get pre-approved, I was told my 10 years of stellar rental history and on-time payments made no difference. Bidet what? I think that is not true. I think the rules have changed. They will now accept rent. Fannie and Freddie will accept rent for rental payments as proof of creditworthiness. J Bow 44, 120,000 between two people isn't a lot, sadly. Nowadays, 240 between two people with the same down payment gives you leverage. What? And then this poor guy, he's like, it's even worse here in Australia. Sydney is beyond ridiculous. Most homes about $1 million. Well, I mean, what are we going to do? It's sad, but like one TikTok isn't fixing this problem. All right, we're going to go, like, look, that was housing related. Admittedly, it came on like after I had started the plan for today. This is what I was going to go with originally. Cameron Diaz. I love these articles. They're stupid, but it makes me laugh. Cameron Diaz, comeback movie halted as co-star Jamie Foxx hit with $40,000 scam reports. So Cameron Diaz is making a comeback? Like, so I didn't even know she'd left. Cameron Diaz comeback film. And how is, now, like, if you want to look at like racism and things of this nature, how is Cameron Diaz the story when Jamie Foxx was hit with a $40,000 scam? Like, shouldn't he be the reason for the article? Cameron Diaz comeback film Back in Action is reportedly in jeopardy following an incident involving co-star Jamie Foxx. One employee was allegedly fired recently after someone apparently attempted to steal more than $40,000 from the Blame It rapper. Is he a rapper now? Jamie Foxx? I thought he was an actor. Is he multi-talent? Is it one of those? By the way, check out this sentence. One employee was allegedly fired recently after someone apparently attempted to steal more than $40,000 from the Blame It rapper, 55. Guy's 55 years old and he's rapping? Do they even have... Is that even a thing? A source told The Sun that the film has been nothing short of a nightmare, and there have been a lot of delays with an investigation into everything going on. It sounds as though they tried to offer up a Rolex watch as part of the deal, the insider said of the alleged scam against Fox. People will be glad when this thing finally wraps, they added about the investigation. Are they talking about the movie or the investigation into the Rolex that somebody tried to steal more than $400,000 from? The chilly weather in London, where the cast has been filming in recent weeks, has also become a big issue, the insider explained, while adding that the recent alleged con was a bit more sinister. I don't even know what that means. The Netflix film is Diaz's first project since the 2014 musical comedy Annie, which also starred Fox. And I totally didn't. Are you serious? What's her name? Who are we talking about? Cameron Diaz hasn't been in a movie since 2014, and I had no idea. Jesus. It's like 10 years ago, almost. 9. 50-year-old actress, well, I don't care how old she is, announced her retirement from Hollywood in 2018 and opted to focus on raising her family. Had no idea that she had announced her retirement in 2018. And I'm a little confused by that because her first project since the 2014 musical comedy. So like she was working for 4 years but didn't produce anything? According to the Sun report, Netflix Netflix bosses reached out to authorities after learning of similar attempts at swindling actors out of cash. The Holiday star, what? The Holiday? Is that a movie? Is married to Good Charlotte frontman Benji Madden, and they have a 3-year-old daughter, Radix. Okay. Jamie Foxx is in all these pictures. Not aside from the comedy film being played with issues, Diaz still might not come back to the entertainment biz following the movie's conclusion. Well, she'd been retired. The long hours of shooting have kept her away from her family, and she is having a difficult time getting back into the acting groove, a source told the Daily Mail on Monday. Cameron loves being a mom more than anything in the world. She hates drama and confrontation. This is why she retired from the business in the first place. She's already proven herself in the industry and has nothing left to prove to anyone. Honest question. What are we doing here with what are we proving? Like, did someone say you couldn't act and then you acted and then now, didn't that prove them wrong? On March 16th, reports surfaced that Fox had a meltdown during filming and 3 people were sacked. Well, was it relevant? Look, I don't know salaries of Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. I'm wondering if they're equal because we have to have everything equal now. We don't want to be sexist. But then, if someone, $40,000 to some is a lot of money. Is it worth getting upset about? I don't know. A meltdown? What is a meltdown is typically you're just done. But it could be he was very angry. That's not a meltdown. That's just you're very angry. The Sun claimed that the Oscar winner fired an executive producer, 2 directors, and his own driver. You hate to see the driver get sacked. There have been some issues on set, and Jamie has had major meltdown over it all. He demanded the problems to be sorted out immediately and sacked 4 of the production staff as if that would magically improve the situation. Some people working on it are totally fed up with how this has played out, and Jamie has become pretty unpopular. Look, Jamie's a rapper. Apparently was in another movie. The Post has reached out to Diaz's Fox respective representatives for comment. But come on. They've got their people already talking to everyone. That's who generated this whole story. This is all part of the entertainment complex. All of it. The intrigue and the alleged issue. Nobody went to they went to the authorities, but the authorities don't have any comment. Honestly, I look at this and I think to myself, how can you, John Schenk of Deerwood Realty, how can you get these people that are doing this PR for these people to work for you? This is how it's done. But how do you get enough of that to make it happen? Enough money. I could have a meltdown right now about the gnats that fly into my shot every couple minutes. Or I could just be upset about it. I don't know. Moving on. We're into tweets now. Bet you thought they'd never come. Jim Bianco, this chart comes from the Fred H8 report. It's currently through the latest data March 8th, 2 days before Silicon Valley Bank failed, what has been the largest drawdown of deposits since the financial crisis? The weeks before the bank failures of the last few weeks. And as the bottom panel shows, the deposit outflows were accelerating in the weeks before these failures. So why was there a big deposit? Why was there would be THERE. But it's hard to type. It's like that autocorrect on your phone. It's tough. I don't blame them. I mess up stuff all the time. Why was there a big deposit flight out of banks before the failures? As rates went from 0 to 4% between March and November, inflows into money market mutual funds were a paltry $62 billion. This changed when rates crossed above 4%. $143 billion flowed into money market accounts as rates rose above 4.5%. Again, the public's attitude about moving money changed when rates crossed above 4%, which is obvious. So if the Fed hikes rates tomorrow, they widen the spread even further, and the yield seekers will have even more incentive. Oh, gosh. I don't know what got disconnected. I hope it wasn't the microphone. Yield seekers will have even more incentive to leave. The banks will bleed and bleed and bleed deposits. Why should the... Oh, it was just a removable drive. Why should the yield seekers stop moving their money? They already... Oh, goodness. They already downloaded the app. They reset their password. They figured out how to move money. They're not going to learn to unlearn it. The only thing that stops the constant bleed is to close the savings rate to market rate gap. With the Fed hiking tomorrow, the only way to close this is for banks to hike deposit rates, but that kills profitability. Why does it matter if the regional banks bleed deposits? Goldman, small, medium banks account for 50% of C&I lending, 45% of consumer lending, and 80% of all commercial real estate lending. If regional banks keep bleeding deposits, even if it is slow enough that they don't fail, it will lead to credit contraction for these sectors. That will hurt. There is a liquidity crisis. Everybody wants their money, not a solvency crisis. Banks lost money. But the scars are so deep from 2008 that we must change this to a solvency crisis via the lack of duration hedging. This is not the problem. The problem is the record bleed out of deposits in mobile banking, making the velocity of deposits much higher than anybody previously imagined. This risk is a credit contraction. The solution is to close the savings rate, market rate spread to move the incentive to leave. Well, I'm telling you, the Fed didn't even have this in their model. Like when they were doing stress tests for banks, they didn't even have this. Oh gosh, I lost my camera. Oh gosh, that didn't go well. Let me see if I can fix it. Why don't you guys tell me that my camera's off? Seriously, dudes? Let's see if my microphone's off too. Can you hear me? Okay, you can still hear me. Crisis averted. Back to my my stellar reading. Oh yeah, so the Fed, they didn't even have this in the stress test they were doing with banks. They didn't even have this stuff in order. This is terrible. They're going to paper it over with more money because they're just going to print it. And then the inflation is going to be out of whack and no one's going to care. Because like when you grow up, like say you're a 10-year-old right now and you go to Starbucks and it's $4 to buy a coffee. Like you don't care. You're not paying for it with your own money. And then when you get to be like 25 and you go to Starbucks and it's like $14, $15 for coffee, you'll be like, it's fine. Everything's good. Allie Wolf on Twitter, preliminary new home pricing results for mid-March. Majority of builders held prices flat, 25% raised prices, about 5% lowered. To see, like for me, it takes guts to raise prices. Darth Powell, the goal of the system is to pay you less so that you have to work more, making you reliant and obedient, all while making everything ever more expensive. Repeat. Let's just say that he might be right. I'm just saying. let's just say that he might be right. Maybe that is the goal of the system. Question is there a better system? Not so sure about that. Not so sure about that. The whole reliant and obedient part, if you want to look at how quickly people just do whatever the government says, just look no further than the last couple of years and what happened. I mean, it wasn't just the government was full on press with doing certain things. And people said, oh my God, I can't lose my job. I have to go along with whatever they say. You could have deeply strong held positions and still do exactly what the government wanted you to do, like, and not think about it twice. I don't see that getting better. It's a behavior, it's a learned behavior, and we've kind of gotten to that point where this is how it's going to be. Housing bubble disrespecter, this is a quote tweet, more than 40% of all U.S. mortgages were originated in 2020 or 2021 when the pandemic drove borrowing costs to historic lows and triggered a refinancing boom, according to data from Black Knight. Read 40% of all U.S. mortgages were originated at peak bubble prices. Yes. This doesn't seem good. This is Texas, I believe Austin, Texas, real estate podcast. Yes, land is approximately 15 to 30% of the basis cost of a home. If you have to pay up for the larger parcels, that translates to a higher cost homes. Cheapest lots in Austin inside 183 are $300,000 for 5,750 square foot lots. If could divide into three, that would get basis to $100K per lot. It would have an impact. And so it says, until we start to try and address our minimum lot size problem, we're going to get are big expensive homes because that's all the code will allow, says Scott Turner, an Austin home builder. And he has a point. You know why the government of Austin put in zoning regulations for lot sizes? You know why they did it. They did it to restrict building. And they got exactly what they wanted. They got huge lots now for houses. And I wouldn't say huge. But I mean, if you're gonna build a house, it has to be on a decent sized lot. That's just all there is to it. Well, that's gonna keep the people out. Aaron Layman on Twitter. This was interesting. Dividend Hair. Airbnb is getting out of hand. Looking at booking a trip to Texas is ridiculous. $274 for one night, a special offer of $54.90, cleaning fee of $150, and a B&B service fee of $52, and taxes $62. Total $484.61. Aaron Layman writes, plenty of good hotels in Texas, no reason to contribute to the crapification of America's housing market, while tech bros and asset owners profit from systematic regulatory avoidance. I mean, truth. Preach. Now, I feel like I should offer my take on Airbnb. I liked the idea of Airbnb originally. I've used Airbnb. Like, I went to Dolphin Island, and there was no hotel I could get at that time, but I could get a condo on the beachfront. I was happy. I want to buy a farm in rural Missouri, but I don't have any money for that. And my wife also wants to live on a rural farm in Missouri, but she doesn't have any money either. So between the two of us, we had enough money for an Airbnb, and we went to a farm, stayed in a farmhouse. They were literally like harvesting corn when we were there, and we couldn't even go outside because the dust was so bad and it was so windy. It's absolutely a terrible weekend. But it gave us an experience to go out and do something. Now, it wasn't the best experience. We needed to be able to walk the property, and we weren't able to walk the property. That kind of sucked. But there have been times, like, where, like, especially for family vacations, I grew up with hotels and I'm used to them and I like what they have to offer. As an example, in Springfield, Illinois, we went to go see Abe Lincoln, whatever, the experience. And we went to the hotel and they had this one room and it was like full of smoke and smelled like death. And we're like, hey, I don't think we can stay in this one. And they just literally moved us to a different hotel. No problem. They're like, we're sorry, you're totally right. You wouldn't get that from an Airbnb. They'd be like, you suck it up and and you pay for it. And this idea of like, I have a friend and he's like, hey, his neighbor told him, the neighbor was like, hey man, we're going out of town for about a weekend and there's going to be some people staying at our house that you may not like. We put our house on Airbnb. So just deal with it. There's going to be like 15 people living there this weekend. Hope it doesn't bother you too much. And they were out. So how is it that I can like a concept, Airbnb? Oh, by the way, I would feel guilty about, I used to be like, hey, if I can help a person, so see, I'm a small businessman. If I can help another small businessman, let me do that. Like that would be my goal. And their thing is like, there's no more small businessmen on Airbnb anymore. It's just a bunch of people that bought a bunch of properties. Now they're just horrible landlords. So then how is that differentiating from me getting a hotel room? Like my friends would be like, don't get a hotel, help out the little guy. I'm like, I felt guilt and shame. I'll be honest, I don't anymore. I'm not big on the Airbnb yet. I'm not big on hotels, but I caught the thing and then I got away on that one. I digress. Let's move on. Clarence Beeks, crop report specialist, a man with my own sense of humor. Anyway, he was responding to this. The Fed forward guidance has been a total disaster. When will the Fed stop? The terminal funds rate is now perceived as about 5%, down from 5.50 to 5.75. The market no longer believes in higher for longer. When has the Fed gotten much of anything correct? The Fed strived for years to produce inflation with absurd QE policies. When the Fed finally got inflation, every Fed member plus Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said inflation was transitory, which he's 100% right. And I really, really can't stand the Fed at all. And if that makes me a bad person, so be it. Then Clarence Beeks put in, the Fed only has 400 PhDs on staff. Maybe a few hundred more will make them get things right. It's exactly right. It's totally stupid. Transitory inflation, you idiots. Darth Powell, last thing here, and I forgot what the thing is. I looked it up even because I don't know. But dealers that bought 6 months ago are trying to sell their used cars for $1,000 more than the new cars sitting on lots. LOL. Here's a reduced price, 10,900 miles, $68,500 for an IS 500. That'd be a pretty slick car. Here's a brand new 2023 Lexus IS 500, $61,043. Makes me laugh. Got into the articles now, boys and girls. Although like 95% of my viewers are male between the ages of 18 and 35. The key target demographic, and yet I can't seem to get anywhere on YouTube with subscribers. How is that even possible? All right. It says 5 things that immediately give real estate agents the ick. Now, I don't know what the ick is, so we'll have to learn that together. And I'll see if I agree with this. Kids these days will tell you the ick is a sudden turnoff. kids these days. Okay. Often caused by something obscure, while TikTok mostly serves up stories about the ick as it pertains to dating. Well, that's out of my league. It's a term that can easily be applied to the real estate world too. Case in point, you fall in love with a cute bungalow while scrolling Zillow, and then you go and tour the home and there's a lingering smell or excessive amount of cameras. Those are some of the common things that give home buyers the ick. Okay. But no one is immune to the ick. It creeps up on real estate agents too when they're touring homes, working with clients, and even dealing with each other. I ask real estate agents to share their turnoffs. Here are their 5 ick inducers. I've got some too. I wonder if I can add to it. Strong scent plugins. Subtle scents like fresh lemon, citrus, and lavender have long been used to help sell homes. Said London-based buying agent Emma Fields, founder of Brick Weaver. The key is subtle. Subtle. There's nothing worse than an overpowering perfume scent that hits you in the face as soon as you walk in. It's so strong that it takes your attention away from the home itself. Also raises the question, is the seller trying to hide something? Fields points out, it's like a mold problem, plus air fresheners can cause headaches and other health problems. Look, when I go in and I smell that vanilla smell, that it gives me the ick. But it also means like, hey, the basement leaks and it's moldy and it's a disgusting house and they're hiding something. Listing photos shot with wide angles. Catfish happens in the real estate world too. Los Angeles-based real estate agent Angela Carrasco says photos shot with a wide angle make properties look way bigger than they actually are, which can leave disappointed buyer when they see the property IRL. That's in real life. I didn't even need to look that one up. She also says virtual staging is becoming more common with photographers photoshopping in furniture to the space and they can lighten and darken the photos to influence the mood. Next time you see a perfect blue sky or cotton candy sunset on a listing picture, just know that it might be photoshopped. You know, that's not really the ick. I don't really get the ick. Like, I feel like I get lied to on every single property I go to for the picture. So why would I be surprised anymore? Cocky photos of listing agents. Cocky photos of listing agents. It's almost a real estate cliche. You meet an agent who poses in a luxury car, dripping in diamonds or distracting you with a big Rolex. There's this girl on TikTok that drives me nuts. I don't know how anyone would use her because she's just annoying. I think some agents post pictures of themselves in luxury cars because they think the illusion of success is more important than the honest work we do to get there. While it's true that people want to work and around successful folks, there's a thin line between authentically sharing your life online and creating a character for clout. That's very interesting. I would say 90% of real estate agents are going to have a fake profile of themselves online. Like, I hate that. I want to work with someone genuine. But, like, I feel like I'm pretty genuine. I mean, you can literally watch me on YouTube every night, weeknights at 9, stream live. It's pretty authentic. And I told you even, like, today when I started, I'm much more comfortable now than I used to be on the streams. When I see real estate videos online on YouTube of agents, it does give me a cringe. It's so fake. It's about selling the dream, not necessarily the house. Sellers adding an emotional tax when pricing their properties. Just because you grew up in the house you're putting on the market doesn't mean it's worth $100,000 more than what the comps say. Carrasco explains. Comps, what are comps? They're shorts for comparables, which are recently sold homes that are comparable to the one that's about to go on the market. When Carrasco is working with a seller, she'll print out pictures of similar homes that have sold in the area. That way, sellers can realistically compare their home to those. But we know the fixtures are fake. So did you know we can make comps up to be fake too? I'm just saying. Maybe you didn't. I also explained that the listing price is not the selling price. It's better priced a little under what we want to sell to drive more attention to our listing and create competition and more offers. Cosmetic updates that sacrifice functionality. Does this give me the ick? Occasionally, when properties are flipped by investors who haven't lived in the home, some of the functionality disappears. A walk-in shower with not enough sloping for proper drainage and kitchen drawers that block one another for opening. Hilarious. I've seen it. I've seen many kitchens that have been cosmetically updated but lack functionality, which can be a major turnoff for buyers, says Yvonne Lobo, a real estate consultant at Made in California. For instance, beautiful new countertop may be overshadowed by a lack of storage space or an awkwardly placed sink, ultimately discouraging potential buyers. Also on the fix and flip for me, when they do one and they've got brand new appliances except for the refrigerator. Well, they do that because if they did put the refrigerator in, the kitchen would look really, really small. And what I like is they'll buy the 4-pack system from like Best Buy, the 4 appliance system. And then what they'll do is they'll leave the refrigerator like in, not even plugged in, like in the garage or something. If they do that, I don't know. The refrigerator's big. Don't kid yourself. So do those things make me go ick? What, 3 of the 5 maybe? The scent, I do get the ick. I've talked, I don't know if you've watched the show enough to know, like, I call it the shower house. That's the house where it's so disgusting inside that when I get home, I'm going to have to take a shower. It happens a lot more than I'd want to believe. It's bad. Okay, so 5 things that immediately give real estate agents the ick. I agree. And then I saw this one. It says, this one rookie home buyer move drives real estate agents crazy. Well, I feel like I'm a real estate agent. What drives me crazy? Most home buyers understand the perils of making a financial misstep, like buying more house than they can afford or ending up with a money pit that requires unexpected big budget repairs. After all, buying a home is likely the most important financial decision you'll ever make. And you want to walk away from the process feeling like you made a good deal. Okay. But there's one less obvious move many home buyers are tempted to make that real estate agents far and wide would strongly advise against: submitting a lowball offer for the heck of it. I don't take it personally if somebody sends me a lowball offer. Now you say, as an agent, like, what if you write a lowball offer? If I were, first of all, I've had buyers that were quote unquote investors, which meant they would go to any house and say, like, I just want it for 20% less. Any house. It was not really investing. Like, any idiot could do that. It doesn't really work that way. And so after about 2 of those, they just get fired from me, because I just don't have the time to drive people around and then lowball people. That doesn't really drive me crazy. That just tells me who you are, and I don't want to associate with you. I'm not talking, a lowball offer is different than an offer commiserate with what the property may be worth. Like, it's entirely possible for someone to list a house that's like, say you're $1 million house, okay, and asking, and let's say you listed $1 million, but it's only like a $900,000 house. Okay, well, if you offer less than $1 million and you're at $900,000, because that's what the house is worth, that's not lowballing. It's likely the house didn't sell anyway at $1 million. All the more reason to write an offer like that. Now, you may say, well, John, this house over here in South City is only asking $150,000. If you offer them $50,000, that's ridiculous. Yes, there is a level of scale to writing your offer. And so I'll take that into consideration when I'm working with clients. I mean, if they're going to, and plus it depends on the market too. We really going to go a lowball offer right now? It just depends on your definition of a lowball offer too. So a lot goes into it. Let's keep going, because I just gave you all that you need to know about this, but let's see. It's so common for buyers to see what sellers paid themselves, realize the seller didn't put any money into making improvements, and decide that they should pay less. But an increase from a house cost when it was last purchased and what it is on the market for now is not a one-to-one comparison. A lot can happen in the market and the economy that affects prices. Look, if you bought a house for $220,000 2 years ago, you put in a toilet, and now you're asking $330,000 and you're going to get it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I hate it. It's not real. It's tempting to try to bargain your way into that gorgeous $1 million house in the perfect neighborhood you've been eyeing. It's also easy to judge a home as wildly overpriced. But there's a lot that goes into determining the value of a home. That's true. That's true. Pricing judgments are complex and based on deep and broad price comparisons and data. You also have to look at how many days it's been on the market, how hot or cold the market is, and how many offers and viewings it's received. Well, that's kind of weird. You wouldn't know that in pricing a home for sale. That's not to say submitting a lowball offer is taboo. You just need to know what you're doing. Okay. Well, what is a lowball offer? Okay, in real estate, the term lowball refers to an offer that a buyer makes that is far less than the seller's asking price. A buyer will submit a lowball offer in certain situations as a means of starting the negotiation process. That's right. If you are determined to make an offer below listing price, proceed with caution. Unless a listing states that the price is non-negotiable, it's okay to assume it's negotiable, says Ying He, a real estate agent with Barb Co. in San Francisco. But don't treat buying a home like it's a flea market haggle. If the home has been on the market for at least 10 days and your agent determines it's priced realistically, don't offer less than 90% of the list price, says Chuck Vanderstelt, an Indiana-based real estate agent and operating manager of real estate website Quad Walls. The purpose should be to start a conversation, and anything below 90% threshold will likely result in a simple rejection. Well, I don't know about that. It depends. When to throw a low ball. A poorly planned low ball can seem like a blow to sellers, but if done correctly, can be a win for everyone. They're not going to see it that way. If a home has been stagnating in the market for longer than average, or the sellers are motivated to unload it, all signs point to a thoughtful and well-researched lowball. If a research shows that a seller is motivated and they have no other options, then lowballing is smart, says Rand Biderman, a strategic coach advisor at a real estate bees in New York, looking for off-market deals where an estate is in pre-foreclosure or the couple is in an ugly divorce can lead to deals. Sale by owner homes often turn up sellers who are willing to negotiate. Maybe in New York. How to recover from a rejected bid. What? How to recover? You put in a lowball bid and then you have to recover? Come on. What's wrong with you? If your offer has been spurned, but your heart is set on the house, don't give up. Yeah, I mean, seriously. Like, you can literally write just another offer. As long as there was a strategy going in and your agent made an appropriate offer, it could be recoverable. Resubmit with a higher offer. The seller's not going to be offended, and it can't hurt. Speak to your real estate agent to determine a path forward. Buyers, especially first-timers, really need to lean on their agent when it comes to making offers. Real estate agents know how to run appropriate comparables between homes in the same zip codes and establish the proper value of the home. I don't know. What do you guys think? Put it in the comment section. Put it in the chat. We're going to keep going. Mortgage giant Fannie Mae tackles climate risk, but changes to underwriting may take several years. Ridiculous, absolutely stupid. Knock it off. Stay with your current mission and don't do this. Global warming has already caused irreversible damage to the Earth's ecosystems and communities, according to a critical report just issued from the United Nations. I reject the United Nations, and it should be abolished immediately. The damage is extending in the U.S. housing market, which just saw unprecedented snow and flooding in California, as well as unusual winter and tornadoes in the South. All that came after one of the worst hurricanes on record in Florida last year. These changes have had profound implications for the nation's nearly $12 million mortgage market. Now, see this? I don't believe this. Hurricane winds are getting stronger. Common storms are getting wetter. Wildfires are spreading faster. And millions of U.S. homes sit in the path of all this. But the housing market person doesn't price that climate risk into home values. How do you figure? U.S. homes exposed just to flood risk might now be overvalued by $200 billion, according to research recently published in the journal Nature Climate Change. Well, the whole magazine is built on, or the journal is built on climate change. What do you think they're going to say? It's a special interest group. Fannie Mae, which backs more than 40% of all residential mortgages, could face much of that risk. How is they going to fix that risk? They not have insurance? What in the world? The mortgage giant's chief climate officer, which just drove me insane, Tim Judge, why do you have a climate officer? That is insane. Says mortgage underwriting does not currently account for climate risk. So he's mounting a major effort, really a defense. No, it's an offense, to figure out the exact climate risk to Fannie Mae's balance sheet so it can ultimately incorporate that risk into mortgage underwriting. I think there's still much more that we have to do, and I think we just don't have the analytics to do it yet. To help, Judges hiring climate risk modeling firms, such as First Street Foundation, Jupiter Intelligence, as well as others, to figure out just why are we spending this money for this garbage? First Street, for example, looks at climate risk from floods, fire, and wind and brings it down to an individual property level. Jupiter studies neighborhoods and communities, but the work can't come fast enough. New research from CoreLogic shows that the current climate trajectory, the estimated number of U.S. homes significantly impacted by climate-related disasters, will rise from less than 1 million in 2030 to over 62 million in 2050. In value, that's losses of just under 200 million to close to 9 billion in any given year. Look, we keep building more houses. That's the problem. You say, John, don't you want housing for everyone? Yes, the population is exploding. You figure out why. It's so stupid. So stupid. Consumers are largely unaware of potential future costs from climate-related disasters. Mortgage lenders are also struggling to figure out the financial. Where's the insurance companies? That's their whole job. That's all they do. It's a massive challenge for all us to really think about. Really, it's a massive challenge for me getting out of bed in the morning. Massive. Because I have to deal with this garbage. She also says climate risk may need to be factored into mortgage underwriting. Well, they're already trying to do it. To date, it hasn't. And I think it's something we're evaluating, just like the industry is. Furcho just reached a term as chair of Mortgage Bankers Association, which issued a special report from its research institute in 2021 saying climate change may increase mortgage default and prepayment risks, trigger adverse selection of the types of loans that are sold to the GSEs, increase the volatility of house prices, and even produce significant climate migration. Look at the prices of homes right now. Are you telling me that they're not currently volatile? This has nothing to do with climate. It's certainly impacting how we're thinking about mortgages and what we need to do. Nothing. You just concentrate on making mortgages available to people that can afford them. That's your job. Just stick with that. That's all your job is. You don't need to do anything else. Don't wander into somebody else's lane. The problem is the models from the different firms as well as from government agencies like FEMA all vary widely, and Judge says that has made the project harder than he expected. Oh, we're just going to come up with these models that are going to be perfect. A model's imperfect immediately. Like, we can't even forecast the weather 10 days out. And you're going to forecast climate change accurately? It's insane. So far, Judge says, Fannie Mae has learned that climate impact varies widely across the country, but impacts vulnerable communities far more than affluent ones. It echoes the UN report, which found the impact of climate change is worse in the poorest nations and islands, which are home to about 1 billion people but account for less than 1% of greenhouse gas emissions. But Fannie is not rejecting any mortgages based solely on climate risk. No, we're not there yet. The first step is understanding what the damage will be to each property. The second step is how is that going to change our behavior? And how is that going to change the valuation of the properties? That's a lot of work that we have to do. Is it 5 years away? I'm not sure. Greta Thunberg said we'd be gone by now. Well, we've had a nice night. I ran late. I wanted you to get the full show. And I mean, we had that problem where my camera died in the middle. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go to bed. Well, around 11:30. Got to get up tomorrow. Lots going on. Look, if you watched any portion of the show and you enjoyed it or anything and you're new, if you hit the subscribe button, we've got 151 subscribers. It'd be nice to have 152. I mean, I'd like to be at 1,000, but as I'm doing the math and the numbers are just not adding up, it'll take me close to 10 years to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I don't have 10 years. of doing this. I'm just saying. I'll be 55 years old. That's not a threat to you, by the way. I'm doing this because I enjoy it, and I hope you can come along with me and enjoy it as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I've done the numbers, and I can see where this is kind of like I spend time doing this, and I see the payoff, and it's like this is for me, and I want you to come along. That's it. That's what I got for you tonight. Have a good night. If you're watching this on replay tomorrow, hey, thank you. That's all.